here's my review of Weapons. Now, this is a movie that I was very excited for just because, like he says up here from the director Barbarian, I thought Barbarian was an excellent horror film. It was one of the best movies of that year. And the trailers for this movie set up this really interesting premise in this. It's just that simple as it just says, last night at 2:17 a.m., every child from Mrs. Gandy's class woke up, got out of bed, went downstairs, opened the front door, walked into the dark, and they never came back. And just that premise of just, okay, this is also kind of fake, just because, like, actually there was one kid who didn't, and that plays a huge part in this movie. But just that whole concept of, like, all these kids are missing, no explanation. That's, like, crazy. And it is just such a fascinating story. I thought it was great. One thing this movie I think does really well is with the character of Mrs. Gandy. She's obviously has so much stress because of this. The whole community blames her. Like, why her classroom? Why only her classroom? And it's just so eerie. And this whole time, like, I couldn't figure it out. I was like, this is a horror movie, but it's also it's a horror mystery. You're trying to figure out, like, the whole time. I was so intrigued, like, where are these kids? Why did they leave? And it was just so fascinating. Like, yes, this is a horror movie. It's not really extremely scary, but it's really a mystery movie as well that just makes it just so engaging. And even Mrs. Gandy as a character, like, when it comes to, like, most horror movie protagonists, like, sometimes they're kind of almost a pushing force for the story rather than having their own character. But here, she's fascinating. Like, we explain, like, how the teacher or the principal says is like, yes, you've had a troubled past. Whether she has drinking problems. Also, she gets too personal with the students. Not in, like, a creepy way, but, like, she'll drive them home from school and, like, people are saying, no, you just can't do that as a teacher. Because she really is just this nice person, but you could tell that just, like, she just has, like, this trouble to her and this pain, which is just really fascinating. And really, all the characters are interesting because this movie doesn't really follow, like, it's not like a beat-by-beat story. It's like we're following a bunch of different characters and different perspectives. Like, this cop, Paul, he's a fascinating character, too, because you could tell he really wants answers as well. But then at the same time, he's not really the best person anyways. Like, too, he's having an affair with his wife, with Mrs. Gandy, and it's just so fat. Like, all these characters, like, they're not really that good of people. But in a way, you could tell, like, they care. Like, they really do want to solve this mystery. And that's what just makes it so fascinating. You have all these morally complex characters with still an obviously clear objective. Hey, obviously, we want to figure out where these kids are. We want to find them. We want to save them. And that's just what makes it interesting when you have such an with a plot that is so obviously, oh, this is the good thing to do. This is the right thing to do. That's a bad thing. Like, obviously, we have to save the kids. But then, like, these characters, they don't always make the right decisions. And that's just kind of compelling and intriguing. Just the imagery of this movie, like when they just show, like, these kids in the dark just running away, doing this weird T-pose, it's just so unsettling, which is good. Like, this movie is definitely pretty creepy. It's, like, just got that undertone of, like, this is just uncomfortable. This is sad. Because this is, in many ways, like, it's a pretty sad movie, but it's just so entertaining because this plot is so bizarre. This exact thing, you're like, this premise, like, what? Why? And then once we get and figure it out, it just, like, it gets even crazier. Like, and I think that maybe might turn some people off, but to me, like, the last 10 to 15 minutes of this movie, I loved it. Like, I went from liking it, like, I'd say, like, throughout the movie, like, 7 out of 10, which is still pretty good. But then it's, like, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10 of the ending. The ending is so good, but I'll talk about that in a bit. And also, Josh Brolin is great in this movie. He plays the father of one of the missing kids. And he just is so good. Like, he's great. And he obviously is just this angry parent. He wants to know what's going on. And that's fascinating. Like, he, in many ways, like, it's a straightforward character. Like, obviously, he just wants to find his kids or his child. And, like, but Josh Brolin just plays it so well. Like, it takes something that's already obviously compelling and just bumps it up even more with such a great performance. And yes, like any horror movie, there is a lot of this movie. For this type of movie, like, you wouldn't really expect it to be as gory as it is, but it kind of does get crazy gory at certain points. Benedict Wan's character as the principal, at like when it gets to this, you're just like, what's going on? Because we see this without an explanation when she runs up to Miss Gandy, and like we don't know what's going on. Like, and then when we see this mystery and when we get the flashback of what's happened, it's just got that unique sense of story where it hits you with this intrigue, and then it makes you want to go back and see how it happened. And it was great, and Benedict Wong was just great in this movie. And then just all these other side characters, like this junkie character named James. He ends up just being a lot more interesting than you'd think. Because throughout the movie, like, we basically see him getting chased by the cops, and it's like, dude, get out of here, stop stealing stuff. Because he'll just, like, he has such this weird habit, he'll just steal and break into cars. You're like, what is this guy doing? And then he ends up being the one to find all the missing kids, all of them. And even when we get there, like, oh, we found him. But so you think, oh, yay, we solved it. But not even at all, because they're under this spell. And then it gets kind of into the witchcraft kind of stuff. So that's when we go in flashback to the one kid who did not go missing. And we see how his aunt was here and how she's basically a witch. And Alex, the one kid who didn't go missing, we find out, like, he kind of knows what's going on because his parents are under this spell by his aunt, who's like this witch character, which it feels so weird to have this supernatural element, which, I mean, it kind of implies, because obviously, like, why else would something so realistic happen in what seems like a grounded movie? But we see how Alex's parents are under this spell, and he does know something, obviously, and the teacher knows it. And you feel so bad for this poor kid. So basically, and I'm going to just basically get into the main spoilers and stuff, we find out this Gladys, who is like this witch character, uses this sound to attract all the kids, and basically that's how she got all of them, because she basically wants to take their life force to make her immortal or more powerful. That was the part where I was kind of confused about. It's like the classic, like, witch just wants it to look younger, or it's like we understand the motivation, but it just seems like just weird for this kind of movie. But it works. And I will say, just like literally one of my favorite scenes in a movie this year, when the curse basically kind of like changes just a little bit, and all of the kids that she kidnapped in this basement just come rushing after her and just kill her. That was just insane. There's something so insanely satisfying about, it's such a brutal death that these kids just rip her apart. It is terrifying and disgusting, but you hate her so much. It's so satisfying at the same time. Such a unique and awesome villain for such an awesome and unique movie. It was great. So yeah, overall, I thought this movie was great. I think this is easily the best horror movie of the year. I think it is definitely top 5 movies of the year, maybe even higher, maybe top 3, I don't know. But I really loved it. I thought it was just fantastic. The plot is so intriguing. It's genuinely really funny, but not in a way where, like, it feels like it kind of just breaks tension and stuff like that. Like, it's funny so naturally, and it is so over the top that it's just wildly entertaining. And yeah, if you liked Barbarian, this is pretty different, but if you like those kind of weird horror movies where you don't really know what's going to happen, definitely check this out. I thought it was fantastic. I really liked it.